So you're going to have a couple layers. Like I was saying before, you're going to have the stockinette. That's going to be the first layer. Second layer is going to be the foam. You're going to hear me talk a lot about 50% coverage. And this does not have to be 50% coverage. So when we talk about 50% coverage, basically we want the coverage of the bandage to be that each time we go around the arm, that's one turn. So as you turn, as you can complete the turns, you want the coverage of the bandage below to be half of that bandage. So for this, it doesn't have to be that way. We just want to make sure we cover all of the stockinette. So this flap is going to come underneath, kind of wrap around. We're going to come around. When you're bandaging, always make sure the roll side is up. It makes it a lot easier to bandage that way. And we're just going to go up the arm. Just keep it out there. And when you're doing this, make sure that you keep your elbow straight. That will avoid any wrinkles. This up here. Sorry, it's going to be a little annoying. You're going to go all the way up the arm with this, as high as you can. So I want it to go all the way up to the axilla, so right up to here. So I'm going to put a piece here. And this tape is just to hold this in place. Okay. All right. So we have 4 bandages. I have this here. The first bandage is going to be responsible for bandaging the hand, part of the wrist. So we're going to use the 6 centimeter bandage. It's the thinnest. You're going to start at just above the wrist, and when you start, you're going to have the bandage kind of angled up, and that's to avoid anything dangling outside of the bandage. When we start the second bandage, it'll make a little more sense. So you're going to have this angled here, start just above the wrist there. You're going to come around. Always make sure that 1, the roll side is up, and 2, as you roll, make sure that you're rolling along the hand and the arm. You don't want it out in space like this, because then you're putting more tension on the bandage than what it needs to be. The only tension that you want on the bandage is on the upside of the turn. You're going to do a little bit of a tug. So here, we're going to tug up, and I'm going to set it down. And as I'm rolling, I'm just going to kind of smush that foam down a little bit. So we're going to come around, up, set it down, and you can see there's 50% coverage of the bandage below. We're going to come around. I'm just going to kind of compress this a little bit. Come back up, light tug, set it down, and we're right here. So one of the things that we see is that we are right at, I'm going to have you with your palm down, we're right at the base of the thumb. So with that, I want you to kind of bring your fingers out as far apart as you can. You're going to keep it that way until we finish the bandaging. So once you get to the base of the thumb, that's when we're going to go into the palm. So when I'm bringing this around, now I'm going to bring it right into here, light tug, I'm going to set it down, and I'm going to come across. I'm going to do this 3 times. Light tug, set it down, that's 2, light tug, I'm going to set it down, that's 3. I'm going to come back here, light tug, set it down, back into the palm, light tug, come into the wrist, light tug, set it down. I'm going to come back here. The purpose is to try to cover up all of the foam. Right here, light tug. Get those fingers out as far as you can. Light tug. You can see I'm coming back into the wrist, 50% coverage. So I want to check the compression that I have. So So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my fingers underneath. I'm going to bring my hands over, and with my thumbs, I'm just going to squeeze. And I'm going to see how stiff is the bandage. And you can tell when you start at the knuckles and work your way through the wrist and into the arm, you can see where it's starting to get softer. The purpose of the bandaging is to cause a gradient compression where the compression at the fingers is more than the compression at the top of the arm. So sometimes when we're bandaging, if the tension on the bandage is different or if the spacing is different, that will change the compression, where you may have loose compression here, tight compression here, loose compression here, and then it'll get tighter. Well, in between those tighter spaces, that's where you're going to start to get the pulling of fluid. So you want to make sure that it's just nice and a gradual reduction of tension as you go up the arm. That takes just a little bit of practice is all. All right, so we're going to get to the second bandage. So I'm going to take this away. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you make a fist. I'm just going to have you push into my chest. So this is the 8 centimeter bandage. We're going to start at the wrist. We're going to start at an angle. This second bandage, again, just like the other, start at an angle, make sure that the roll side is up. At the top of the turn, light tug, set it down. You're going to come around, 50% coverage. Light tug. You're going to come around, light tug, light tug. And you can see I'm just rolling it on the arm. So as we get up to the elbow for the second bandage, when we get up to the elbow, we're going to do a light tug. We're going to actually make an X. So we're going to go at an angle. We're going to go all the way to the top. And we're going to come around here. We're going to go around twice. That was 1. This is 2. And we're going to come back down. And we're going to come back down, making an X here at the elbow, on the side of the elbow. And then we're going to be right below the crease. And we're going to start coming back down. 50% coverage of the bandage below. Bring your arm down. Where I put my tape. Okay. So like I was saying, each bandage has a purpose. First bandage is for the wrist and the hand. Second bandage is leaving room for the elbow to be able to bend. If we didn't leave this area here, the elbow wouldn't bend, and then you'd be out like this all day. Third bandage is to change the compression, the direction of the compression, so that it's not pulling the hand up or down. So go ahead and make a fist and just kind of push into me. So we were going in this direction. We're actually going to switch it. We're going to go in this direction. And again, we're starting at the wrist. Light tug up. I'm rolling right on the arm. 50% coverage. And this bandage is going to go all the way up the arm. Feel horrible. Hopefully not too bad though. We're going to go all the way to the top, and then we're going to start coming back down. 50% coverage. You can go ahead and just relax. Go ahead and rest your arm for a second. The last bandage, we have a choice. We can continue to do a spiral, or we can do a herringbone technique. Most of the time I do a herringbone depending on how the compression is. If it's inconsistent, I'll do the spiral and then I'll add where I need to, as far as to make it a little more compressive. Hold your arm out. I'm just checking to see where. Actually, that's pretty good. So I want to avoid making it any tighter at the wrist or the hand. And I'm looking to see where does it drop off as far as the tension. And it's dropping off about right here. So we're actually going to go right there. Make a fist for me. So we're going to actually change back to the original direction. I'm going to start here. And I'm actually going to do more of a herringbone. So I'm going to come way up here with an exaggerated angle. Light tug, I'm going to come back down. How horrible is it?
It feels tight.
A little snug?
Yeah.
It's not tight, it's just snug.
My fingers feel funny.
Well, it might be a little too tight then. That's using that 6 centimeter. Move your fingers around a little bit. Actually, that's pretty good. Okay. Go ahead and touch the other shoulder. Can I bring your arm out? I want you to touch your nose. Okay, good. I want you to move your fingers around for me.